read back to you in full. Intro. Can you hear me all right? How's everything going with you today? Another day, another dollar, another day in paradise. Gain intel. Where are you calling from? Then connect. Got it. How much do you know about Ray Allen or Detailing Co? Okay, so to give you context, we're the #1 XYZ in the Y niche. So we teach clients how to reach 35K a month. And so far, we've implemented our strategy with over 250 individuals to help get to their goals. Does that sound more or less like why you booked this call? Awesome, man. And you're the decision maker, right? Yes. Cool. Just so we're on the same page, the goal of this call is to figure out if this is the right fit for you. So first, I'm going to ask you a few questions to understand where you're at, what you're working toward, and what might be holding things back. From getting there, if it looks like we can actually help you hit those goals, I'll walk you through how it works, what it looks like, pricing, any incentives or scholarships available, and next steps. Sound fair? Now, inquire about the fit, their business. So what motivated you to schedule a call with me to explore program name? Get specific. What ad? Or what did they see or resonate with that got them here? And what's your biggest challenge or struggle right now? Outcome. Identify a challenge powerful enough to drive action. Tell me more. What type of work do you do? How long has that been going on? What have you tried to do to fix it? Why didn't that work? What has kept you from solving this on your own in the past? Where does that show up? How is that negatively impacting you? Figure out their golden vein, the #1 thing that keeps them up. How long has been going on? Specifically, how is struggle impacting your most important goals right now? Where do you believe you would be now if you had overcome this struggle? How long has that been going on? What are the negative implications in your life over the next decade if you don't make a change? What happens if you don't address this issue in the next month, quarter, or year? What's the worst case scenario if this isn't addressed? If you did completely resolve challenge, what would change or what would be different? Summarize and recap. So it sounds like you are looking to overcome challenge which has been going on for time, and now this is a priority for you because of negative impact. And if you were able to completely resolve this, you would be able to goal. So it sounds like for you, it's not just about goal, but wanting to resolve challenge is more about vein. Do not move on until yes. And I am always curious, like, what has changed? Why is this something that you are ready to change now? Or are you ready to change this now? Commit, consequence and urgency. What if nothing changes about your situation and you're still in the same position in X years? How would you feel then? Have to find why it's important that this doesn't happen to them. I agree, you seem like a person who does what they say you will. Could put an identity anchor. Why make a change now instead of in 6 months? Why do you keep trying? Cool. So it sounds like you're ready to make a change, right? So based on what you told me, I'm confident what we do could work for you. Because commit, consequence and urgency. And I am always curious, like, what has changed? Why is this something that you are ready to change, interchangeable with Build Now? Or are you ready to change this now? Amazing. Well, I honestly have a clear understanding of your situation, and it is very clear to me is something that you have committed to resolving. And I really believe that our program is actually a perfect fit to help you achieve that, especially because Tumanid. So I'll show you the phases that we cover in our program, as well as how we actually deliver that for you, and logistics and the cost of that. Does that work for you? Run them through the actual coaching. 5 mins, 8 mins max pre-handle here. So what's most resonating with you about what we discussed so far? Is there anything else that would prevent us from moving forward and potentially getting started today? If price, just say, pretend it's free, would there be anything holding you back? If nothing is stopping them, great. So assuming the investment works for you, it sounds like you're confident this training will get you to heaven and avoid hell. Is that correct? If is stopping them. I'm curious, if it weren't an issue, is this something you'd want to move forward with today? Awesome. So I mean, do you feel like this is exactly 11:10 what you were looking for? If yes equals ask why, get them to sell themselves. If no equals dig. There has to be a vocalized yes. They will never buy if not. Great. Let's discuss the investment and next steps. And the program names typically deliver similar training to clients for over $15,000 Mo. We've designed program names with the goal of making a high-value training accessible to a wider audience. So for the 3 months of training with weekly group calls, one-to-one access to coach name, lifetime access to our curriculum and our community, our price is $5,000. Pause. We do have an on-call scholarship opportunity for people like you who are serious and motivated about making a change. Go SLOO. If you're ready to jump in and get started, we'll cover 40% of the cost and offer a bold guarantee. So rather than $5,000, your total investment will just be $3,000. And if after 3 months you don't objective, we'll personally coach you until you do. Pause and allow for silence so the prospect can think, don't talk or ask questions if you've dealt with all OBJ. Okay, if it is really just a matter of making the financials work, we do have a couple options for splitting the payment up. Are you open to exploring those real quick? Okay, great. I think we can find something that will work. We can do monthly. However, the more months we break it up to our payment processor, it ends up being a bit more. But if, for example, we do 2 to 3 month installments, the price is pretty much the same. What do you think? Any objection, default to money, logistical. Okay, not a problem. Money aside, if I gave you a duffel bag with a mount, would you do it? Why though? Because what would that do for you personally? So is it just that initial investment of X, or if there was a way to possibly break it up, would it make it more digestible? So cash on hand besides bills and expenses, what do you have available so you can actually get to X goal? Just to see if I can help. Put together a funding plan that works within their budgetary constraints. Then, okay, so with the understanding you feel it would actually get you to XYZ goal, and it works within your budgetary restraints, how would you like to proceed? Agreement statement. Iotji, that makes sense because we all make decisions based on our perspective, right? AG, that makes sense because what you're seeking is certainty, right? That this will actually for sure get you the result. Time aside, if you did have the time, would you do it? Do you feel it will get you to X goal? Why though? Because what would that do for you personally? Because there are 2 people in this world. The first goes, I have X, X and X, so I can't goal. The second goes, I have X, X and X, which is why I have to goal. So the question is, which do you want to be and why? Because you don't have to, man. Because what do you think happens if you don't? If you decide to be that first guy, and are you actually willing to settle for that? So what decision do you have to make to put yourself in the best possible position to X? Partner aside, if she was on board and she was like, honey, you have to do this, would you actually do it? Do you feel it'll get you to X goal? Why though? Because what would that do for you personally? Okay, so out of curiosity, what happens if you go to her and you're like, hey honey, we need this will change everything, and she says no? Would you do it anyways? Or would you just kind of give up on goal? I would do it anyways. Well, why would you? Have you heard the saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown? The idea of it is, the weight of the crown isn't the crown itself. The weight of the crown is the decisions you make when you have that crown on. Because like back in the day, the king was the one sending an army out this way, starting a war this way. He was responsible for 100,000 of lives. Because as the king, it would not be fair to put that burden of responsibility on anybody but himself. Because for you, for example, man, who's going to be the one doing X? Is that going to be you or your wife? So whose responsibility is it to put you in the best possible position to? Okay, so do you think it would be fair to put that responsibility on anybody but yourself? Why not? Because what do you think happens if you take that responsibility and power you have and put it in the hands of people with less context? And are you actually willing to settle for that? So what decision do you have to make to put yourself in the best possible position to X? Do you want me to now record an audio version so you can practice hearing and delivering it like you're on a live sales call? That would make it easier to internalize the pacing and tone.